2,500 years ago, when empires rose and fell, there was a Gentile king named Nebuchadnezzar. God gave him a dream that created an impact that is felt even to this day. This dream was later interpreted by Daniel. If God can use a man like King Nebuchadnezzar, he can definitely use you too. Now let's go back in time and see how it all unfolded. In the late 7th century BC, the Neo-Babylonian Empire began to rise under Nabopolassar, a determined Chaldean chief. His revolt against the Assyrian Empire marked the dawn of a new era. Over 21 years, he expanded his dominion, laying the groundwork for a powerful empire. As Nabopolassar solidified his power, his son Nebuchadnezzar faced a fierce war with the Egyptians. The clash at Carchemish tested Nebuchadnezzar's military skills, but his campaign was cut short by the news of his father's death. He swiftly returned to Babylon, was crowned king, and reigned for nearly 43 years, from 605 to 562 BC. His marriage to Amytis, a Median princess, forged a crucial alliance with the Medes. Nebuchadnezzar's reign was marked by military conquests and grand building projects, including the famed Hanging Gardens of Babylon, transforming the city into a symbol of strength. As Babylon grew in splendor, Israel and Judah struggled with internal conflict and defied God's warnings. After kings David and Solomon, Israel split into the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah. Persistent strife stirred God's anger. God had warned that continued disobedience would lead to their downfall. Eventually, Judah fell under the control of the Egyptian king Necho II, who killed King Josiah in Jerusalem and installed his son, Jehoiakim, as king. Despite this, the kings of Judah continued their defiance. In 605 BC, Nebuchadnezzar, to expand his kingdom, attacked Jerusalem, capturing the city and installing Jehoiakim as a puppet king. During this invasion, Daniel and his friends, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah were taken to Babylon. Jehoiakim's rebellion led to a second invasion by Nebuchadnezzar in 598 BC, leading to Jehoiakim's death. Nebuchadnezzar captured Jerusalem, the capital of Judah, and installed Jehoiakim's uncle, Zedekiah, as a puppet king. During this invasion, Nebuchadnezzar devastated Judah, seizing its wealth and deporting 10,000 captives, including key figures like the prophet Ezekiel. Even Zedekiah resisted Babylonian rule, seeking help from Egypt despite prophet Jeremiah's warnings to surrender. This led to a brutal third siege. For 18 months, Nebuchadnezzar's forces encircled Jerusalem, causing severe famine. Ultimately, Zedekiah was captured, blinded, and taken to Babylon. Nebuzaradan, Nebuchadnezzar's commander, set fire to the temple, the palace, and key buildings, bringing about the complete devastation of Jerusalem and the destruction of Solomon's temple. During the final siege, Nebuchadnezzar's forces took all the golden vessels and valuable treasures from the temple, stripping it of its sacred wealth. As Jerusalem lay in ruins, Nebuchadnezzar's power seemed unshakable. Yet, amidst this darkness, a new chapter unfolded in Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar selected strong, healthy, and handsome young men, ensuring they were well-versed in every branch of learning, gifted with knowledge and good judgment, and suited to serve in the royal palace. Among the many young people, 4 were chosen for a 3-year program to prepare them for service in the king's court: Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Despite the grandeur of the royal court, They chose to follow the Mosaic law, refusing the king's food and wine in favor of vegetables and water. After 10 days, their health and appearance surpassed those who consumed the royal provisions, leading to their continued adherence to this diet. Daniel and his 3 friends underwent rigorous training for 3 years in the Babylonian court. During this time, God endowed them with wisdom, knowledge of literature, and the ability to understand visions and dreams. Second year of his reign, King Nebuchadnezzar experienced a disturbing dream that left him sleepless. He tossed and turned, troubled by the vision he could not understand. Desperate for answers, Nebuchadnezzar summoned his magicians, enchanters, astrologers, and sorcerers, demanding that they tell him his dream and its interpretation. Bowing before the king, the wise men pleaded, "It is impossible to interpret the dream without knowing it." Fear gripped them, knowing the king's wrath could mean their death. Enraged by their inability to reveal his dream, Nebuchadnezzar rose from his throne and ordered the execution of all the wise men of Babylon. Arioch, the commander of the king's guard, sought out Daniel and explained the grave situation. Daniel, in turn, sought wisdom from God. Daniel asked his friends to join him in prayer, seeking divine revelation. As they prayed, a bright light illuminated Daniel's face, signaling that God had answered. Arioch escorted Daniel to the king's palace, where he would reveal the dream and its meaning. Daniel described the overwhelming and terrifying statue from Nebuchadnezzar's dream. A head of gold, chest and arms of silver, belly and thighs of bronze, legs of iron, and feet of iron and clay. Humbled by the revelation, King Nebuchadnezzar threw himself down before Daniel and acknowledged the greatness of Daniel's God. The king elevated Daniel to a high position and, at Daniel's request, appointed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to oversee the province of Babylon.